Hi everyone, and welcome to my web scraping project where I extract data from the Ryanair website. I collect the data about the flights and I store it in the CSV file. In this video, I'm going to connect the MySQL database and store the data into the database instead of the CSV file. So let's get started. Instead of CSV module, we will have to import the MySQL connector module. Then we want to create the variable called connection and call the parameters and connect the MySQL database. Here we want to pass the parameters about the database, how to connect the credentials. So we want to place the host, which is going to be localhost. The user, I'm going to use the root user. The password. Please put on your own password here. And the name of the database. I call my database the flights, but you can call it however you want. By the way, I assume that you already installed the MySQL server on your laptop. If you didn't, please go to the documentary and install it. If you have some difficulties, you can write in the comments below and I will create another video how to install the MySQL database. We have the array of cities that we created in the previous video, and we will not need this variable anymore. Here we have the function that we also created in the previous video, so please check it out. Go to my part 1 in order to understand the logic of this function. And after this function, we want to create a function that creates the table if it doesn't exist. For the moment, when you first run the script, you do not have the table. So we want to create the table automatically. But then running the second or the third time, the script will not create the table because we're going to make sure that if the table exists, do not create. So def create table. If not exist, we're going to pass the connection here because in order to execute the SQL script, we need to pass on the credentials to the database. And here we need the cursor. In MySQL, cursor is important for executing the SQL script. So if you want to update the data, to select the data, you're always going to need the cursor. Connection cursor. And now the variable create table query will store the SQL query. So I already created the query. In order to save the time, I want to copy paste it and explain it to you. So this is the simple query which is used by any dialect of SQL. So we just create the table if it does not exist. If you already have the table flights, it will omit this query, so it will not create another one with the same name. These are the columns, the same that we used for the CSV file. So we should also specify what is the data type and make sure that you copy paste it after executing the query. So we need the method execute, and we're gonna pass the variable here to let it know what exactly the cursor has to execute. And after executing, we want to use the method commit. If you do not use commit, you will not have a table. The query will not be saved or executed completely. The changes will not be done. And now we want to close the cursor. That's it for this function, and let's go to the insert function. This function will be called insert flight data. because here we're going to insert the data that we got from the web scraper. We're going to pass the connection again. For each SQL query, you want to pass the connection and to create a new cursor. So here you need the flight data. And the cursor. So I will just copy paste it because it's going to be the same. And I want to create the variable insert query. Here I will store the SQL query. I also created that one in order to save the time. So I will copy paste it. And here you go. You have the keyword insert where you want to insert the data, and you want to specify the columns that you want to insert to. The percent with S is just a placeholder for the values that you're gonna insert under each column. So you want to use the cursor to execute it with the parameters insert query and flight data. Here you want to commit as well, connection commit, in order to approve the changes. Too many M. Commit. And you must close the cursor. Cursor close. That's it for the function. So next you want to run the function create table. So you're gonna copy paste it and pass the variable connection. Previously we needed to open the CSV file in order to write the data inside it. Now we do not need it anymore. And those two for loops go to the left, and what we're gonna change here is this. Instead of writing it into the CSV, we want to insert it to the database. So we're gonna write if flights, and we want to call the function insert flight data with the parameters connection and flights data. We will do the same in the second for loop, and in the end you want to close the connection. Since you do not have CSV file anymore, you want to change the print message. So instead of flight data has been saved to and the name of the CSV file, we want to write down to the MySQL database. So that's it. I think we are good to go. And after you run the script, you must have the data in your database under the table flights. Like here, you see the first flight number, then the origin and destination, the departure date, time, arrival time, and the price. For the cases where we do not have the price because the ticket is sold out, we have the text sold out. So that's why make sure that your column is not that small. It should be voucher. So thank you for watching and see you in the next video.